What's goody? Hey man, so yesterday the Knicks and the Cavs played in a matchup of the 1 seed out east and the 3 seed out east, and this is something I was already kind of starting to feel about the Knicks, but this game just kind of reinforced to me that the Knicks aren't a real contender, and that's kind of something that's wild to say about a team that's 37-19, and the 3 seed out east, right? Like, that's pretty wild to say. It's a good team. Please don't get me wrong. The Knicks are a very good team, and I think their ceiling is probably a conference finals push for sure. I just don't think that this is a team that's a real contender. And don't get me wrong, OG Anunoby's been dealing with a foot. They were missing Mitchell Robinson. They were missing Josh Hart. So this wasn't a full strength Knicks team. But when most of your guys are there, most of your key guys are there, and you lose by 36 points, that's telling. When most of your key guys are there and you let up 142 points, that's telling. Now, statistically, the Cavs are the best three-point shooting team literally in like the history of the NBA. Like they've been hooping, they've been shooting the best from three-point land. Like they've been absolutely dominating and everything like that. But to lose by 36 points in a primetime game, like that's just something that is insane to me, and that's something that we can't get behind. And now this season, versus the Knicks, the Thunder, and versus the Cavs, the Thunder, and the Celtics, the three teams with the three best records besides the Knicks, and all three of these teams have better records than the Knicks, so I don't even know why I said that, but the three best teams by most people's estimation, at least record-wise, but by most people's estimation, just overall, the three best teams, you're 0-6 against them. You haven't picked up one win. I watched the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Celtics, and I'm pretty sure the Celtics were fully healthy on Christmas Day, if I'm remembering correctly. They were fully healthy, and the 76ers beat them in Boston on Christmas Day. So you couldn't find a way to beat them. You couldn't find a way to beat Cleveland once. You couldn't find a way to beat OKC. You have to win versus the top teams to prove that you're a contender. And when you can't do that, to me, that's something that automatically just shows that you're not a contender. And going into this next season, one thing that I was super skeptical of was their defense. And their defense, it's not like the worst in the NBA. Like, let me go actually look and see like what their scoring defense is, because it's not like the worst in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? But it's just something that's concerning, especially when Mitchell Robinson's not there, and he's a guy that's not been consistently healthy from like a lot of his NBA career, at least especially in recent memory. So it's like, you can't just expect their defense is going to be better when he's there. He's not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, their offense is great. They have a top 5 offense, a top 4 scoring offense, one of the best field goal percentage shooting teams. They shoot a lot. They make a lot of threes. But when your defense is only 14th, that makes me question you. And it's the same way with a lot of other teams. Like when Memphis has the 22nd best scoring defense. Now, granted, you know what I'm saying, from 20th to 23rd, it's a 0.7 point difference in defenses, but it's the same thing that I have with Denver. Denver's defense isn't great. They have the best player in the world, but their defense just isn't great. Like, when your offense is really good, that's amazing, and that will do a lot of things for you. I would rather have an absolutely number 1 offense in the league than a number 1 defense in the league most times, unless your defense is so stifling that it's like you're in the modern NBA not even allowing 100 points per game. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time where I might take it. But when you have an offense that's good, but not like best in the NBA good, and then you have a defense that's middle of the pack in the NBA, it's just not enough. And then we all know about the Phil Jackson 40-20 thing. Like, in order for a team to be considered a real contender, you have to win 40 games before you lose 20. Well, they're 37-19 now, so who knows if that's going to happen or not. Let's look at their upcoming schedule, see who they play. Because that'll tell us whether or not, you know, so they play Memphis, Orlando, Boston are their next 3 games. Any one of those games could be a loss. Hell, 2 of those games could be a loss. The Boston game on ESPN Friday will be an absolutely massive game, because will you fall to 0-7 versus the top 3 teams record-wise in the NBA? That will tell us a lot about you. I'm looking at Cleveland's next 3. So, one second. I'm looking at it for the wrong team. They don't play Boston Friday. No, they do. So then why did it say this is Why is it showing me Cleveland stats when I'm looking up New York? Like, I clicked New York Knicks 3 times, and it's taking me to Cleveland stats. Like, I can't stand... Bro, ESPN, bro, like, first of all, your broadcasting sucks. Like, you're overall, just overarching, a lot of times negative coverage of the NBA, and then you have too many breaks and everything like that. And then we go here, and I can't even look at the Knicks schedule without it taking me to the Cleveland Cavaliers schedule twice. Okay. So they play Boston in their next game. So tomorrow they play Boston. Wednesday they play Philly. So they have national TV games in each of their next 2 games. And then they play Memphis, Miami, which I don't really give a damn. And then Golden State, LA, the Lakers, and then the Clippers, like back-to-back. On back-to-back nights, literally. They could literally go out here and lose 3 of their next 5, 4 of their next 5 games if they're not careful. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty likely that they're not going to get to that 40 wins before they get to that 20 losses. But another thing that I want to say about the Knicks, they don't have a top 10 player in the NBA. I don't think anybody in here thinks Karl Anthony Towns is a top 10 player in the NBA, and I don't think anybody in here thinks Jalen Brunson is a top 10 player in the NBA. Those guys are both really good. They both played well against Cleveland offensively at the very minimum. Like, they didn't do anything crazy, but they played decently well. They had efficient games. They put up their 20-plus points. They just didn't go out there and drop 50 or anything, and they also are both liabilities on defense. So that's also a super concerning thing. When your top 2 guys are good offensive players, but one of them has proven to be inconsistent in the playoffs, and both of them are liabilities on defense, like massively, I don't know what the ceiling can really be. Like, I don't know how we can call you a contender when both of your top 2 guys are good offensive players, but not great ones, and are the 2 worst defenders on the court, especially Jalen Brunson, most of the time when you're playing. So I'm not sure how far that can really take you. And that combined with the fact that you just don't have a top 10 player in the league, like Cleveland, you can argue Donovan Mitchell's a top 10 player in the league. And some people would say it's not even an argument based on how he's played this season and how well the Cavs have done. So Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs now, I'm still worried about the Cavs because I think Donovan Mitchell's like a borderline top 10 guy. I'm also worried when you like are the most historically efficient 3-point shooting team of all time. That is worrying to me because it's like, are you going to fall off come playoff time? Are you going to fall off in the biggest moments? Are you going to, what happens in the playoffs if you have a stretch or where you have 2 or 3 straight games where you can't hit a shot from beyond the arc? What are you going to do then? We don't know if that's ever going to happen, but like Cleveland has concerns. But New York has way more concerns to me, and I'm saying that New York is not a contender. I do not believe that New York is a real contender. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe they could very well make a finals push. Maybe they will. I mean, not a finals, a conference finals push. Maybe they even will make a conference finals push. I just don't think that they're a real contender. And I think last night really showed a lot of that. Like, it's like their last 3 losses: Cleveland, Boston, Lakers. You want to go back even further, it's like, okay, they lose Minnesota, Detroit, but then the next one, 25 points they lose to OKC. 10 points they lose to OKC earlier in the season. Like, you've lost to Detroit twice. You lost to the Mavs when they had Luka. Like, you just... And I can't go out here and just pinpoint every single loss, but it's like, you lose to Boston by 30 on opening night. I think we all remember that. Boston went out there and hit like almost an NBA record amount of threes. 2 nights later, you lose to Cleveland. That doesn't look great. And then we go a month or two into the future. You play OKC, lose by 10. You play OKC again a week and a half later, lose by 25. And then you go out there, lose by 13 to the Lakers. You lose by 30 to Boston again. You didn't lose by, you pretty much lost by 30 on opening night. So you've lost by 30 to Boston twice, and you've lost by 35 to Cleveland once. Like, you're not just losing to the best teams in the league. You're losing by 15 to 30 points consistently to the best teams in the league. Both of those times they played OKC, there was no Chet Holmgren. So I don't want to hear nothing about, if there was a player missing or something, we've had injuries, blah, blah, blah. Tom Thibodeau is the one that plays his guys 40 minutes a night. You are the ones that didn't go out there and get the necessary depth. You are the ones that are still hinging on Mitchell Robinson's health. Don't get mad at me for that because y'all chose to do what y'all chose to do. So don't get me wrong, the Knicks are a very good team, but championship contenders? Nah. Let me know what y'all think, man. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me out a ton, helps the channel out a ton. And, yeah, man. We'll see what happens tomorrow when they play Boston at 1 p.m. I'm definitely going to be tuned into that. I haven't really looked at the schedule. I'm about to go watch Lakers versus the rest of Lakers versus Nuggets. When I stopped, Lakers were up 20. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to keep watching that, see what's happened. But, yeah, man, let me know what y'all think about that. And let me know if y'all how y'all feel about if y'all feel the same way. All right? All right.